Hi everybody, my name is Devin Tryan. I'm the team leader of Pineapple Group. We're really excited to put this together. I asked Jen Andrews first because she is a wealth of knowledge that I think a lot of you guys know. And we wanted to put something together that talked a little bit about the shifting market, activities that agents can do to stand out. A big part of our team is to make sure we're always staying ahead. You don't want to be one of those agents who find themselves, what do they call it, the falling off the curve, the fading winner, I think is what a lot of people refer to it as. Hey guys, come on in. We're just talking about time management. So what I want to do is I'm going to introduce these three ladies. They are all amazing in their own respects. And then we're going to have kind of like a Q&A panel. I've got a bunch of questions prepared. And then what we'll do is I'll ask you guys if you hear anything that you want us to go deeper on. We wanted to keep this small so it was accessible and we could actually get interesting information that you can put to use in your business. Not just all up here, but really usable information. So let me introduce these three. Let's start with you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So Jen was licensed as a realtor in 2001, became a licensed broker just 4 years later, having extensive experience ranging from general brokerage, project sales, real estate broker management. She's currently the principal broker and designated managing broker of EXP with 650 agents. She also, you guys may not know this, sits on the board of the Hawaii Real Estate Commission, of which only 9 people sit, so which is an amazing achievement. She's also part of the Condominium Review Committee, Education Review Committee, Laws and Rules Review Committee, and she's been an asset to myself and everybody on the team who comes to her more than we would like with many problems. So very much thank you. Give it up for Jenna. I met Brittany a year and a half, 2 years ago now, going on.
2 years now, yeah.
So originally from California, moved to Hawaii with a dream to make a change in her entire life. Was one of the top sales executives at Yelp, believe it or not. And then got into wedding and event arrangements, and then eventually into real estate. She not only quickly became one of the top producing agents on the team, but in all of Hawaii. So in her first 2 years, she not only had a $5 million transaction, that's one unit. In the last 12 months, she's put $18 million under contract. And outside of real estate, you can find her sailing, hiking, traveling, and doing brunch at the yacht club.
Yeah.
You are that cool. This, of course, is Lexi Terrell. Come on in.
Hi.
Hey! Thanks, Michael. Lexi is worked with the marketing and communications of the city of Wellington in North Carolina. Thank you. She has specialized in everything from full web design to digital marketing, is currently the marketing manager of Pineapple Group, who handles everything. What do you get? From brand, design, copy, social media management, direct mail. She even goes as far as to digging into the analytics around everything from our businesses, all the way from website, bounce rates, direct traffic, how QR codes lead to traffic. I mean, she gets into the real thing. She is an asset on the team. She knows more about this stuff than probably anybody in this room combined. So thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate it. Okay, so like I said, if we want to get deeper on a topic, just let me know. We're going to start with some softballs. Jen, you're up first.
Cool. Thank you, Devin.
Yep. So first we're going to go through activities, habits of agents, what they do to stand out as a brand, and then what special techniques, scripts we do that Brittany will get into around building those relationships further, which generate more business. So my first question for you, Jen, is what are some of the habits and activities that you see that agents are doing, and how does that compare from the agents that make it, the ones that do well, compared to the agents that don't make it in this industry?
It really comes down to being engaged. It doesn't matter what cycle we're in. It doesn't matter when you came into the business. It's really about being consistent, being engaged, and always being proactive. If you sit and you wait for business to come to you, it's not. where, you rarely get the opportunity of something literally falling in your lap. The more you're out there and engaging with the public, the more that you have social media presence, you have your learn on, your education on with your scripts, the lot easier it'll be to communicate with folks when you engage with them. But you can see based on my history where my engagement is, and I think that everybody has to have a passion. Whatever your passion is, focus on that, because that's what's gonna connect you with everybody that you meet. And if you're able to have that connection and you're engaged and they feel confident with you, you'll get the business.
Can I ask louder?
Yeah.
So just to bring it more ground level, what would you say are, in terms of engagements, that passion, like what are 1, 2, or maybe even 3 examples you see from any other realtors under your wing that you say, wow, they're doing really well, and what is it?
There's no real secret sauce, right? I think everybody wants to know like for me, when I'm like clicking on something, it's always, you try to get instant results. But the reality is that there's no secret sauce. I have seen tremendous growth in agents, mostly when they, to be honest with you, they engage even with the broker team. Truly, the more you engage with your broker team, the more information, the more assistance that you're gonna get, and the more confidence you'll be when you're dealing with situations. But again, what I'm seeing is agents who are constantly out there. They're the ones that go to every open house. They're the ones that go into the brokers' opens. They're volunteering to work, to get experience. Those are the ones. Plus, if you have a passion, a focus, and a niche. So create your market plan, create your market niche, because that's what's gonna help to elevate you as an agent. And that's what I'm seeing. If an agent says, I know the inventory in this area and I can rattle it off, I know that they're gonna be successful. If an agent is not in tune to the market, they're gonna be trying to constantly chase the market for clientele. If you have knowledge and you share it and you give it, people will gravitate towards you. It's not about holding things secret. Agents our clients truly want to work with someone who's giving them information, and it's not tied to a hard sale. So if you're a professional and you're saying, look, let me give you some general advice, let me give you some general information, let me help you guide the way, that will naturally progress into a relationship with the client. There is, I came into the business of a hard close, hard sale. Get to the yes, always get to the yes. Not everybody's style is like that. That's not my style. So work with the style that works with you. If you try to force yourself into a particular style, it's not gonna work. You have an internal conflict and everybody's gonna feel that. So take what you learn and customize it to who you are as an individual, because that's who you're gonna be connecting with, other individuals. So engagement is what I've always seen. By the way, if you were to talk to a top producer, and when I say a top producer, think about the ones that are, you see their signs, you see their names in certain areas or neighborhoods. And when you think of a neighborhood, certain agents come to your mind, right? Those agents know every single thing about properties in that neighborhood. They know the history of the properties, they know the uniqueness of the properties, because they can tell the client, this property over here sold for this much. This property over here, it's great, it's priced a little bit high, and let me tell you why. If you know the ability to know the inventory of your market, your clients are gonna say, you're the person I wanna work with. Because clients are always looking for someone who's on top of it. They don't need to chase you. They want you to give them updates, give them information. So proactive agents who are engaged, they know the market, and they're confident, and they're consistent in their business practice, those are the ones that are gonna be successful. It's not a big secret, it's not like I've seen one person do something magical, but what I've seen is they took their business seriously. They decided, this is a career, and I wanna be successful, this is a long haul for me, and I'm gonna do the things, so that means having a structure. 9 to 5 is your business day. Or in many cases as realtors, 9 to 9 and then some. But you have to make sure that you treat your business as a business. That's what successful realtors do. They treat their business as a business. So make sure that you treat yours the same way. Have a business plan, have your goals set up, have a budget, and have a team to support you. I think Devin's a great example of that, having a great support system, right? Yeah.
We could probably just end it right there.
But scripts, by the way, scripts and marketing, they all go together. So you have to be multifaceted. Just like as we are in real life as realtors, we put on many hats. You know, we're professional real estate advisors, but we're therapists sometimes, we're movers, we're cleaners, you know, we play many hats. But at the end of the day, if you're able to take the lead because you're confident, clients actually want that. Clients love that you take control. They love that, but just don't be overbearing. Yeah, just don't be overbearing, but take control. That's what they want. I had one client tell me, and he was a president of a large corporation, and he said, Jen, I think I paid you too much. And do you know why he said that? Well, he said it in a joking manner. He goes, I think I paid you too much. And I said, nope, you paid me exactly what you're supposed to because I got the job done. I said, the less you hear from me, the better it is from you, right? He's like, yeah. And that's really what they don't want to hear problems. They want to hear solutions. So don't call them with a problem unless you have a solution to offer.
Did you guys write that down? Don't call them with a problem unless you have a solution to offer.
And that's because, you know, situations happen. Clients get upset, but really they're mad at the situation. They'll be mad at you if you're not offering them solutions and options.
Yeah. And I learned a lot from that already. I'm like taking notes already. And I heard an analogy that I've been using and applied to something different, but I think of the real estate team. I was on a class the other day and they go, well, should teams be allowed? And the thing is, we all have a team. Whether it's your mortgage officer, escrow officer, home inspector, everybody has a team. And why wouldn't you just leverage it out a little bit more? But the example to your point of everything impacts everything from marketing to scripts is I tell the example to agents. If you have a car and because people ask me all the time, what's the most important thing I can do? The one thing I can do to grow my business? And I say, well, what's the one most important piece of a car? And if you only have that one piece, does the car run? No, of course not. If you take out any single component, it doesn't work. And that's just like real estate, whether it's marketing, scripts, or anything else. So Brittany, I'll leave you the same question, and I'll have you bring in more. Jen was like a million miles. No, this is amazing.
And before she starts, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, please.
I do want to add this. Never apologize for your value and always ask for the business. That's the other thing.
You guys right
Top producers never apologize for their value and they always ask for the business. Because a lot of times people might think, you're so great, you don't need my business. And you go, no, I got plenty of time. Yeah, right? But they might not know that you have the time. So make people aware that you have the time to service them.
Absolutely. That's great. Same question. Because you've been now 2 years in, and you've seen people get into real estate and do well. You've seen people from your classes fall out that are no longer real estate agents. We've talked about that. What are some activities you feel like you do that set? So $18 million, guys, in just the second year of real estate, just like that. In a rolling 12 months, $18 million in volume. Some people, it took me 5-6 years to get to that point. So that is incredible. That is amazing. And that doesn't happen accidentally. You don't just stumble upon 18. No, that does not. You do not stumble upon. You might stumble on one great transaction and it falls in your lap, but you do not accidentally do $300,000 in GCI. That does not happen. So with that being said, what are some of the activities you as a very successful producing agent work towards that set you apart maybe from other agents?
Yeah, so I actually traced my whole business back to my very first client. And it's the really funny thing is I actually never ended up closing her, which is hilarious, but that got this really great snowball effect rolling. So it was in the height of, the real estate craziness. It was very much beginning, January 2021. My friend texted me and was like, hey, I heard you just got into real estate. Can you be my agent? That's the only time I've ever actually gotten a text like that in my life, by the way. So
You're probably like, this is gonna be so easy.
I know, I was like, this is great. I'm like, awesome. Didn't know that if you're a VA with no money down, that wasn't like a great thing. We weren't gonna find you a home like tomorrow when there was 35 offers on things, right? So what I did, I was like, okay, like, you know, I love to be creative, and I think that's a really key skill in doing well is thinking out of the box, right? And this is, we're kind of going into a market where we have to think out of the box, right? The things that we were doing aren't the same activities that we need to be doing now. So one thing that I did when I had that client who was struggling to get a home and kept getting beat out is I started calling every single home on the block that I could find that she would like.
Hold on. Can you explain that? What is that?
Yeah, so it's called circle prospecting. So I would literally cold call homeowners, and you have to get used to a lot of people hanging up on you, telling you no, I'm not interested right away, all that fun stuff. But you know, you do get some people who are interested and kind of perk their ears up and like, oh well, you know, I actually am curious how much my home would go for, and you're like, okay, you're my person, let's go and see it. So basically, I ended up, because the market was moving so fast then, and that's why she got priced out. That was what happened to her. But through all those calls I would make, I got, I think, 4 different listings out of it, because they would meet me, they would like me, and they're like, I would actually bring my client over, because that's one thing I will never do, is I will never BS somebody. I will always call with a purpose and call with passion. I go from a servant kind of helping perspective on it. I'm not just calling somebody willy-nilly. So if you ever get a call from me and you want to sell your home, like call it because I actually do have somebody. I can bring them over tomorrow, maybe not. Anyway, no. So it's important to have a purpose when you call, because people can tell genuine on the phone versus not. I guess, you know, we've all got the telemarketer calls, right? The spam calls coming from all across, right? And you can tell when like somebody gets on the phone, they're like, hi, and they're very like overly scripted, and it doesn't sound genuine and relatable. I think the best thing to do is get on the phones and sound like a human. You know, humans aren't perfect. We're gonna stumble and fudge our words a little bit, and that's okay, and I do that all the time. Very much the person who sticks their foot in the mouth all the time. And that's okay, because it's part of my personality, it works for me. It's, you know, everybody has their own style. But through that one client, like I said, I've got 4 other listings out of it, and then through those open houses, my very first open house, it was in the height of summer 2021, I had I think about 50 groups come through, and it was great. And through those 50 groups that came through, 4 of those people who walked in turned out to be clients who bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold. So everything was a big snowball for me, and the snowball just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I would service those clients really well, make it a very memorable experience, and then I would go ahead and they would give me some referrals. So it's just been kind of organically based, and it's great because yeah, it's really helped, you know. And then I had a really big listing that was terrifying. It was.
Tell us about that.
Oh gosh. So I have some really funny stories, but yeah. So I was kind of on a mission to get my first like luxury client, like just laser vision. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I will. So when I put my mind to something, this is another really important skill. You have to really be laser focused on it. Like I knew hell or high water, it was gonna happen. Somebody was gonna give me a shot. So I went on Zillow and I went to the for sale by owner section. And they also have for rent by owners, right? So their numbers are on there, guys. Like it's not a secret. You can just look up and you're like, oh, there's a person to call. It's a live working number.
Wait, for sale by owner. What is that?
For sale by owner. So the owner's trying to sell it themselves, and most of the time it's unsuccessfully because they want to.
Is anyone else sweating already from hearing that? Cold calling, circle dialing, for sale.
Oh yeah, for sale by owners, circle dialing. You name it, I've done it all. And one thing I also really like doing is if you can't find, people are very like, oh, it's an expired listing. That's the best thing ever. You know what I love? I love the sold listings. Those are the ones I like the most. I go and dial that thing back in MLS like 4 years. I'm like, all right, somebody is looking to sell out of this list. Somebody is looking to sell. Somebody doesn't know how much equity they have in their home. Or they know somebody, or maybe they don't like their neighbor and they'll give you their neighbor's number happily and they want to have them sell their home. We get a lot of those too. People always laugh, but I've gotten some numbers from it. But it's great because if you just be proactive, that's the main thing. Like I don't wait for the market to happen to me and wait for a property to come on the market. I make the market happen for my buyers. and for my sellers as well. So it's one of those key traits where you really want to have people understand, like, you know, I'm working for you. You know, that's why I'm big on buyer's representation agreements too. Because I'm like, you know what? We are working together. I put blood, sweat, and tears into this. This is my 9 to 5, and sometimes my 9 to 5 is literally just calling people all day and having some really funny stories to share over margaritas later. You know, like that sometimes is the day. And sometimes it's door knocking. Sometimes, you know, I've gone with Devin door knocking plenty of time. We had some really interesting conversations.
Great conversations.
Yeah, some of them I choose not to want to remember, but that's okay. You know, like we win some, we lose some. I mean, one of the time we took our whole team out to the beach and started door knocking. And, you know, we literally had one of the guys on our team, they got lost, wound up at the beach, and we're still like walking. We have like GPS on everybody. We're like, what are we doing, right? But it's being proactive and setting yourself apart. You know, most people I would say aren't successful because they're not doing the activities that they need to do on a daily basis. You need to be calling people and having conversations, following up with your clients. I literally, so we did a boot camp about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Yeah, anyway. So we had to do this really big push for just getting calls, numbers, appointments, things like that. So we track them every hour. And I would even say if you're an individual agent, it's important to have like your own little kind of team. Even if you're not on an official team, make your tribe. Like, hey, we're meeting here, we're gonna call here, we're doing 10 calls an hour, like this is what we're doing, you know? Because you have to hold yourself accountable. Yeah, so that's gonna be an important thing. And then getting back to mentoring is a huge deal. So Devin is my mentor. I know I annoy him most days, which is true. Same with Jen, but that's fine, you know, you have to find your tribe, right? I would rather be that squeaky wheel that gets oiled and gets the answers that they want than just not ask, right? So ask the questions, do the things, do the work. Yeah, I think it's a lot of just really, you know, like I said, creating the right environment for success to happen. So when it does happen, you're ready for it, which does, we do script practice every morning. How many of you, just by show of hands, practice scripts? I love it.
Nice.
Woo! All right.
How many have cold called like
How many people cold call?
Nice.
I love that. That's actually a good show of hands. Yeah. Yeah. How many people have had some really good success from cold calling so far? Okay, that's great. I mean, it does work. You just have to figure out your own voice and don't try to be like somebody else. That's the main thing. You want to be yourself. And because that's what's going to resonate with other people, right? We can always tell when somebody's trying to sell us too hard on something. You don't want to be that person. You want to just be authentic and put yourself out there and make your clients, like the clients who like you will gravitate toward you and they will sing your praises from the rooftops. And that's what you truly want to do. And yeah, but it's just, like I said, it's hard work in this crazy market that we're going into. It's going to be a shift, you know, so we're going to have to get back to all the fundamentals that
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Cutting her off now. We will be here all night. Thank you. That was really, so far I've heard 2 common themes though. Number 1 is proactiveness. And Brittany talked a lot about really just creating opportunities for yourself. I want to do a little bit of shift away from those daily activities. I know I told you I was going to ask you this, but I'm not going to. No, I want to go a little bit into branding now because that is part of it. If you don't, you can do all of this work, and what I always refer to it as, it's a prospecting-based business, but it's marketing enhanced. You do the follow-up, and you brand yourself the right way to create more opportunity and conversion for yourself. However, if you don't have good branding, if you don't have social presence, if you don't have email, website, if your client's email, who here would like me to put up on a screen where I Google your name and see what comes up? Would anybody be afraid of that? Yeah. I promise there's probably a lot of people in this room I could pull up their Facebook and there are way too many drunk photos on your photo feed. So when we talk about branding, I'm gonna give you this mic. Let's say we just, very ground level, we took one agent from this room right now and she said, I wanna rebrand myself. What would be the first question or what would be the first thing you would be like,
First thing that I would tell you guys to do is to identify your audience, figure out what your audience's needs are, and figure out what you can deliver to them to meet those needs. That's probably my number one tip, it's easy to hit a target when you set a target, right? So let's talk about like Facebook ads, for example. That's just one example, right? It's easy to do a Facebook ad campaign and say, I'm just gonna do it to everyone that lives in Oahu over 30. That's easy, right? But those people aren't gonna be the people that are gonna be more likely to transact. What if you do the people that are divorced? Or you focus on people who have newly inherited homes? Or you focus on people in Facebook groups that are in Facebook groups like Move to Hawaii. There's like 20 Move to Hawaii Facebook groups. Those people are probably more than likely to transact with that than just people over 30 in Oahu, people that live in Oahu. So really narrow down who your audience is, what your specialty is, figure out what needs they have and figure out how you can deliver those needs to them. But also make sure that you show your face. There's something that Devin says, and I love it because it's true. We love true things, right? And it's there are no secret agents in real estate, which is 100% true. Just like you said, no one is going to just knock on your door and say, hey, sell my house. I'm not going to do that. Everyone that you know and all of their friends that you've met should know that you're a real estate agent. And there are small things that you can do in your community to show your face more. Make sure that you, when you send out push listings, make sure that you link your agent site, not just your regular website, right? You link your agent site, next to every listing is going to be your face, your phone number, your email, all of your information. That's like one of the smaller things you can do. You can go even bigger and you can do community highlight videos. You can narrow it back down, you can do local business highlight videos. You can even do things like beach cleanups. Engage the community that you are transacting from. Support the community that you're transacting from. That's definitely a top thing, especially in a place like Hawaii. That's something that people want to see, for sure.
Yeah.
So what you do is, the formula to this is you're going to set your goal, you're going to make your strategy, and then you're going to deliver it. Because the truth of it is, you don't need 1 million followers to get transactions from your social media. You just need the right followers to get transactions from your social media.
Thanks. Like that.
Yeah, we
Thanks.
should
all
work on
about
that. I was like, I need to work on
Those two
that.
ladies are very sharp. I love what they're saying.
Thanks, girl power, am I right, guys? Another tip that I have is engage the people that are already in your database. There's this fact that I like, and it says 88% of homeowners said that they would use their real estate agent again, but only 12% of them actually did, which is crazy to think about. So stay at the top of their mind. Things like, birthday cards, anniversary cards, or even just a how are you settling in conversation will go a long way with those people. You're going to be on the top of their mind, meaning if they want to transact, they're going to think of you first. But also, if they have a friend who wants to transact, guess who they're going to refer? You. That's if you're going to brand yourself. That's my top 3, definitely.
It was like 40.
Oh, sorry.
That's great, thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up question
Please,
to that?
yeah.
So, as you made that comment that you don't need 1 million followers.
Yeah.
I know with our database, we know the ratios, right? 10% of them will transact this year.
Mm-hmm.
What percent of your social media followers will transact this year, or should?
Actually, our social media followers typically have the highest rate of conversion compared to our lead sources. People that DM us and are like, hey, I'm interested in a home like this, or I'm interested in buying a home like this, they're 9 times out of 10 way more likely to actually transact than a person who's, let's face it, I go on Zillow and I just look at like $4 million in a home in homes in Kailua just for fun, because I like to do that. A lot of people like to do that. It's a fun hobby. But people who actually DM you and say, hey, I am interested in seeing this house, I'm interested in seeing homes like that, those people today, tomorrow, or months from now, they're more likely to transact. Yeah. Okay,
That's great, I didn't know that.
cool.
Does anyone else have any questions?
That's what you
This
heard
is
her
so,
from
yeah, I know,
one
right?
person,
No.
right?
Lexi is one of the smartest, she has a supercomputer for her brain. Yeah, it makes me feel dumb when I talk to you. No, in a good way, I'm just like, I'm so glad you're working with us.
You flatter me. Thanks.
Okay, Jen, we're gonna go into your neck of the woods. Liability.
Oh,
Okay.
liability, yeah.
Who here's been sued? Hey! Yeah, let's not do that. So I've settled, I haven't been sued, but I have made many mistakes, some of which are very suable offenses, yes, but fortunately I haven't been sued by anything. So we're gonna take some of these lessons I've learned, and I'm sure Jen has learned so many. What are some 1, 2, maybe 3 things that we as agents, producers can do to limit our liability in the marketplace?
I think that's a great topic, and I appreciate you bringing this up. You know, the top 2 litigated issues with real estate is seller disclosures and agency representations. Those are the top 2, and they've always been for many years. Just to give you an example, this year alone, RICO is a regulated industries, right? So they're the ones who investigate complaints that are submitted to the DCCA. The DCCA covers all licensed activities, not just real estate. This year alone, they have received 4 times the complaints in previous years from the public. And a lot of them are going to be real estate related. So just understand that the public is now made aware that they can go onto the website and submit a complaint and that's how easy it is. And so we've seen that grow, and I think a lot of it is because in the last 2 years, a lot of folks were just concerned about getting in the home. Nothing else, just, I don't care about the price, I don't care about the contingencies, I just have to win this bid. We've already talked about in our state meetings at our company to be prepared when the market changes. This is the part of the shift program, right? Like, that you're gonna be talking about. But no matter what, in any market, you have to think about risk mitigation. And a lot of that comes down to, number 1, are you doing proper communication? And you must have it in writing. If it is not in writing, it never happened. So if you have a phone conversation, and a lot of times we do messages, we have text messages, email, it's a little bit easy. What Brittany touched on was that human connection, that human contact. Don't just rely on text messages, email. Sometimes you have to make a phone call. Sometimes you have to Google Meet or Zoom meet the client. Sometimes you have to meet them face to face to have a conversation, to say, do you understand what it is that we're basically talking about here? You know, you don't want to talk to them like they're 5, but you have to explain things as if they're 5. And I tell that to people all the time. Explain it to me as if I'm a 5-year-old. Make it simple and easy. If you try to sound too smart, it's gonna be complicated and it's not gonna be good. Just keep it simple. Keep it straightforward, stick to the facts, but also when it comes to, let's say, seller's disclosures. You represent the buyer, seller issues a disclosure. Are you reviewing it on behalf of the buyer? Are you looking at it to make sure all the pukas are checked off? If there's anything missing, are you asking the seller, can you provide more information? Because the buyers don't know this. The buyers don't know what to ask. They're relying on us as the professional. So as long as you give information, you can't get sued on something that somebody already knows about. If I knew there was damages, I can't sue you. I knew about them. I accepted the property understanding that the background information. It's a lot of times with seller disclosures, it's because the seller either fraudulently misled a client, they didn't explain, hey, I actually opened up this back wall and fiddled with the wiring myself, right? We see that, right? Sometimes people open up a wall and you're like, what is happening in here? Well, obviously the seller knew about this, right? Because they've owned the property for so long and this is recent work. Those are the big ones. So make sure you communicate with the seller and the buyer. Their obligation to disclose, obligation to investigate. We as licensees must also investigate. Meaning you can't just go to the listing agent and say, tell me more, if you can easily find out the information yourself as a buyer's agent. If you can call a property management company up or association and find the information, get it. If you need to consistently ask the seller to follow up, keep doing it. Because if you were to ever go into a claim, if you can show of record that you attempted to follow up on a number of occasions, you did your job. You can't force somebody else to perform theirs, but at least you could protect yourself by saying, here's my paperwork, here's my documentation, I communicated and I did it at a minimum 3 times. because I wanted to make sure that I was following up. Like, don't do it 3 times in a row, like on the same day. Do it at different increments. Try to do it different ways, phone call, text messages, email, because that's how they're gonna be able to, how you're gonna be able to defend yourself to say, I don't have the answers, I'm not the source, I'm the source of the source. So therefore, I've done my job by relaying the inquiries to the other party. I followed up. If they fail to do it, you go back to the purchase contract. By the way, 95% of all your answers are gonna be in the purchase contract. And that's really true. A lot of folks don't know that. It's all there. It's in black and white. When attorneys get involved, all they're looking at is the 4 corners of that contract. That's it. They don't care about conversations you had. They don't care how nice you look. They don't care how sweet your voice sounds. They just want to know what's in the contract. So make sure that you do your due diligence. We always say CYO, cover your cole. Make sure you always have it documented and you follow up. Engage with communication and be proactive. Don't wait for the client to ask you what's happening. You call them and say, this is the situation. This is what we're dealing with. These are your options. These are the risks and consequences. How would you like to proceed? And then when you send like a document via DigiSign, make sure you put that, or a DocuSign or a hello sign or whatever you use, make sure you repeat that. Per our conversation, here's the document. Please sign. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, you're reiterating, we've had a conversation, I'm documenting this in writing, you signed this document, you're confirming, not only did we have a conversation, you're agreeing to this. So if somebody else says, I didn't know what I was signing, I just click, 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 because everything is DocuSign, that's, by the way, the #1 defense that someone will have. I didn't know what I was signing. It's not my fault. That's why we always say the same thing too. Don't put your buyer rep agreement with your purchase contract. Always have it separate. If you were to put your buyer rep agreement in your purchase contract, the question is, did the client really know what they were signing? If the buyer rep agreement is separate, there's no question they knew what they were signing. So that's the other thing too. We're gonna see a lot of that. Who represents me, right? I absolutely agree in buyer representation contracts. It's not 100% guarantee, but at least it sets the tone. And then again, document is everything. So seller's disclosures is always gonna be a top litigation between clients and agents. Same thing, by the way. Communication and follow-up. Research and investigate. Even if it's, here's the website, please take a look at it. Give as much information and resources, because I always tell my buyers, I can't want this more than you. I tell my sellers, I can't want this more than you. It's your obligation, these are your responsibilities. I'm here to help guide you, give you the proper advice and consultation, talk about the risk and consequences and the benefits. You ultimately have to make a decision. If you give your client information and they've made an informed decision, you've done your job. And that's really what it is. Even the purchase contract, I talk about this all the time, I teach classes on this. It's not about whether someone is happy. Not everybody is happy. It's whether they were given information to make a decision that they're comfortable with. If you can prove that, you protect yourself. You protect your client. You protect your client, you protect yourself. Works both ways. Sorry, I know that was long-winded.
No, that's great. I think every single one of us probably need to go back and send some emails to some clients right now.
Yeah.
I do. I had a client this morning. I went and met him at his house in Waianae. The house needed a lot of work. He brings me around back, and I look up at it, and I was like, Nick, was there a fire? Because the entire side of the house is charred. And he's like, oh, it's like this older, I don't know where he's from, but he's like, oh, that? I'm just gonna paint over and no one will know. And I was like, no, we can't, Nick, you have to disclose these things. But those are the type of things that even if you do nothing, right, Jen? You could do nothing at all in that scenario. You don't say anything, you don't do anything. You're at fault. You're liable. So don't feel like, oh, I wasn't doing anything. There was nothing I did. You're still liable for it. And I tell this story to all the agents I talk to all the time. My transaction that almost went to lawsuit, it was a listing in Kapolei. We listed it on the market. I called the association prior to listing and I asked them, what services are included in the HOA? And they tell me that water and sewer and groundskeeping is included in the HOA fees. Awesome, that makes sense. We go under contract. The agent that we're under contract with calls me and says, Devin, are you sure that water and sewer is included in the HOA? And I said, of course, but let me double check. So I called the association again. I won't say who it was, Hawaiiana. And I asked them, hey, what's included? Is water and sewer included in the HOA? And they go, yes, it is. I was like, oh, great news. No issues. And I tell this to the seller's agent, buyer's agent. 2 weeks after closing, I get a letter from an attorney to my office threatening lawsuit because water and sewer was not included in the HOA. And I was like, well, what the fuck is this about? Like, what do you mean? So I called the association. She goes, no, it is included. I said, well, why did we get a bill? And she goes, well, it's included. You just reimburse us. I was like, that is not what that means. Guess who paid a $2,000 settlement so we wouldn't go to court because I didn't want to have to deal with it and drag it on for a year. I did. But I knew that we would lose. I don't know if you were here at the time. No, you weren't. Yeah, I might have had some better advice. I don't know. But I knew it was going to be an issue because I was the one that was responsible for it. And if you take all of your transactions and you take responsibility, you're going to be a lot more successful with them. And what I'm really hearing, which is awesome, and I didn't plan this, a very common theme in this upcoming shifting market is taking responsibility not only for your actions, but your business. Taking responsibility for your education, for your marketing knowledge. Just because we're real estate agents doesn't mean you can't take a marketing class somewhere. I took a copywriting class recently because I was like, I don't know anything about this. We all need to practice and hone our skills on a daily basis. It doesn't just come naturally. And so one thing I asked Brittany to practice in a little bit is a circle dialing script because it's something she's done a million times and I've done it a million times. But it's things that we don't think about. And I always say the expression, if you're not practicing with agents or your coworkers, you're practicing on your clients. And now imagine if you show up every day and you're like, all right, Miss Client, here's my first one of the day, you're my practice run. How would they probably feel? Not too great. So Brittany has gotten a ton of business from circle dialing, open houses, door knocking, all of these things. And I think a lot of people here have questions of how does it actually work? How do you randomly call somebody, for example, Vanita, how do you randomly call somebody and turn that into a $3 or a $5 million listing? Does anybody wonder how that's even possible? Because to me, I'm like, wow, I've done it, and it still sounds difficult. So I'm gonna give you this.
You're gonna give us a sample?
So
Yeah,
we're gonna do a practice role play. We do this every morning.
Put you on the spot.
It's okay. So pretend that I am just somebody who owns a house in Kailua, your neighborhood, and you have a buyer for it. Like, what would you say? What would that sound like?
Ring ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this Devin?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
Hey Devin, this is Brittany with Pineapple Group. I'm just calling about 123 Banana Street.
Oh yeah, that's my house.
I know, it's such a great house.
Thank you.
Glad I got him a little bit.
How can I help you, Brittany?
Yeah. Hey, super random question. I have a client who's looking for a home here in Kailua, and we've just been having such a tough time getting their offer accepted, and it's just been kind of crazy. I'm sure you've been keeping up with the market.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been wild, and we're just having such a tough time for them, and I wanted to see if there's any chance that you may consider selling your home within the next year.
We really haven't thought about it. I'm sure in the next 5 or 6 years, we're military, we'll probably sell and move off. But until then, I do know that my neighbor Bob across the street, I saw a pods unit. So maybe that's something that could be for sale. I know it's not listed, but maybe he would consider selling.
Oh, thank you so much, Devin. Yeah, do you
Yeah.
happen to have his number by chance?
I don't, but it's the red house with the white trim.
Ooh, that's a really great house. I love that one. That's such looks like so farm-like, you know? I would never say that. Anyway, what's a red house with a white trim, right? So for Farmer John. All right, getting back to it. Yeah, no, I'll definitely stop by there. Thank you so much for the heads up.
Of
And
course.
yeah, and you know what? And when you do come to sell in the future, I would love to be your number one choice. Is it okay if I give you a call again, maybe give you some updates in 6 months, see how the market's going for you?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Cool, right on. Well, thank you so much, Devin.
Of course, thanks, Brittany. Okay, now does every single call go like that?
Absolutely not. I got hung up on so much.
But if you talk to enough people, and what's the percentage out of how many homes? How many are going to sell every year? On average, I think we see about a 5% turnover rate, depending on the area. Kaimuki is like one house will sell in Kaimuki every single year, so I wouldn't circle that area. But if you have enough conversations, and so what are some conversations sound like, Brittany, that are less flattering? Like that's a good one where you're really following up. But what are some, you're like, oh wow, that wasn't a great call. What does that actually sound like?
I think it really comes down to them being like, Brittany, I'm never moving ever. Don't call me again. Take your name off my list. I'm like, you're not even on a list. I just selected your home, okay? I really did. As I actually do. So Devin was, was really more about like, let's, expand the search a little bit. I'm like, no, this one has better bones. If they renovated it like this, which they probably did because this was ugly, this would be something really great. But yeah, no, so I mean, I get hung up on a lot. People can be aggressive or mean or, just not nice, not warm. So, a lot of the times they'll tell you no a million times to your face or give you like no response. Like they're not like, if you ask them like, hey Devin, you'd be like, hi, what do you want?
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, let me see if I can generate some rapport here. So I think always having what you're calling in front of you is really helpful because they're like, why me? Why my home? I'm like, well, yeah, because your home has that beautiful archway and it stands out against all the other homes. So I think it's really important to have just reasonable expectations that most calls will not go as planned. But yeah, so I think it's important.
But is it worth it when you get a $5 million transaction?
Yes. So
When you're cashing a check or closing a sale and meeting those clients and giving them a tree as a closing gift, right?
it's not a tree.
It was not a tree. What was it? Was it a shrub?
It was a custom made surfboard.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
They're
nice
family.
surfboard, too.
Okay, my bad.
That was a nice surfboard.
But when you're at that closing and they're excited and it's an amazing transaction, are you thinking about that other guy that hung up on you with the red and white trim house?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I meant to tell this guys earlier. So one of my it didn't end up selling because that seller was very, she was a special person. That's all I want to say about that one. But it was started as a for sale by owner from Zillow. I gave her a call because I noticed she had one photo and it was an aerial view of her yard and no pictures. One of them had a picture of her husband in it. That was a newly added one. I was like, oh, I need to help this lady like so much. So I called her up. She's hilarious. She's definitely a talker, and so am I. So we got along pretty well on the phone, and it turned out I'm like, well, what are you doing showings? So I went over there, and I was like, wow, I have like a lot of thoughts on this. We ended up becoming little phone buddies for a minute. It took me about a month to actually meeting her. Hilarious.
Wait, hold on. Say that again. Took you a month?
It took me about a month, yeah. So I kept calling up because
Wait, so you mean you didn't just call her and she just didn't sign a listing the first day?
No, she did not.
Oh, wow.
No, she surely did not.
What did you have to do?
I had to call her, and she was a little bit older, so she actually used to forget who I was. So she, because apparently she would work every other agent in, honestly, in the city. And so she's like, oh, sure, tell me a story. She's like, oh yeah, your dad grew up here. And I'm like, no, he didn't, but that's okay. So she confused me a lot. I'm like, oh dear Lord, how's this ever gonna happen, right? But she kind of gave me a mission of what she was looking for and how I could help her, because her goal was to do 1031 exchange. Does everybody here know what 1031 is? Yeah, okay. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on a mission even for this one client to circle dial for her, even though she's not my client yet. I know she'll be interested if I find her something. Then maybe she'll trust me to list this property. It's just all about being service to people. And that one listing, I finally got her to agree after borrowing Devin's Tesla. I did. I borrowed his Tesla because my car was like on its last limb, and I went over to her house.
And what did she have?
And she had a minivan.
They don't
That
care.
was great.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, she was like, she just has just a crazy real estate portfolio, and I was like so worried about trying to impress her. It didn't even matter. So like I said, be yourself, because that's the only person that's worth being. So yeah, but from that one listing, I got the listing. I did take a little bit of a reduced commission on it, which is fine because I knew if I got my sign in that neighborhood, it was going to be important, right? It was going to mean something. Like it's like breaking ground. Like I did it, right? I did, and I had every other agent in that neighborhood like, what? How'd you get this one? Ooh, you know, because everybody knows each other's business, right? Especially in Kailua. And yeah, through that open house, I met my $5 million clients. And I was actually cleaning up an air conditioning spill that at the time when I met them, literally like, here, come on in guys, I'm literally soaking up with like rags on the floor, looking like Cinderella. And they ended up calling me back after, and they were like, hey, we really liked you. Can you be our agent? You seem to know what's going on in the neighborhood. And I was like, I do. I live here. Let's go on a walking tour. And we picked a house and we got it for them. And they've been amazing clients, now really close personal friends of mine. So, you know, through that one listing, you know, it just, you never know what can happen. Open houses are amazing. So opportunity is at every turn. But yeah, so that's how that all even came to fruition, which is kind of cool. So through one random call that didn't even turn out to be a client, we actually ended up withdrawing the listing, which is really sad.
And that's okay.
And that's okay, because you know you're so far off on price and it's fine, you know. I mean, I leveraged it really well. I mean, I had all the intentions of selling it and doing an amazing job, and you never know, the point of the story is where something will lead, right? So you better make the call and put yourself out there, because that's really all you can control. So, yeah.
That's so good. Good job, Renee. And the big thing I'm hearing too is she didn't just get that $5 million buyer. She followed up with them. She did the open house. She did all of the activities, the KPIs, key productivity indicators that led to that. None of it happened accidentally. I used to cold call expireds every single day for 4 or 5 hours a day. I see Elle, we used to go head to head on expired. She's beaten me on so many of them, by the way. And that's a big thing though, is there's many agents and brokers here who have been in the industry for a long time in this room, still learning, still applying, still here to learn from other agents, because not one person has solved this industry. We can all step on each other's shoulders and learn from each other a little bit. So Lex, taking from some of what these guys said, what are some thoughts of yours on how we can take our current existing activities, such as open houses, such as our database, and maybe leverage something like social media to really capitalize on that? What are some maybe social media tips that we could give everybody around that? You need a microphone.
I mean, I can project.
I can yell.
No, my number one thing would be stay consistent with it. Posting schedules specifically. A lot of people post every day, but a great way to start off is, I call it a 3-2 schedule. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 week, next week, Tuesday, Thursday. Just keep alternating like that. People who post every day, people who use that kind of posting schedule, that stay consistent with it, they typically see a great deal of success. But also, when people engage with you, right? Like, okay, when you meet a friend, you know, a new friend somewhere, and they're like, let me follow you on Instagram, I was following you on Instagram, right? You follow on Instagram, you post something like, gorgeous, amazing. And you never, it's radio silence when they post something else, right? Guess who's never gonna engage with you on social media ever again? That person. So engage with the people that are engaging with you, reply back to their comments, or like their posts, share their posts on your stories, post stories. Stories are such an easy thing to do. It's like 2 clicks, do it. Also go beyond your immediate social media sphere too, and engage with people, local businesses, other people outside of your immediate sphere, because as soon as someone strange follows you, what's the first thing that you do? You look at their profile and you scroll through their entire profile and you're like, who is this person? You know what, if they like what they see, they like what they see, and that's great for you, right? But above all else, you know, you've probably heard this a billion times before, but video content really does trump everything. It really does. When you look on your Discover page, when I look on my Discover page, it's all video. Maybe the occasional shoe or two like that I want to buy, right? But it's all video.
Wait, hold on. Let's clarify. So let's say somebody has an amazing $3 million listing in this room.
Yeah.
Or anything, or maybe they have a buyer looking for an area. What are some ways they can take that listing or that active buyer and turn it into a video that they can post on their social media? What are some like just easy, you don't need a crazy video setup, just anybody can do.
You can, one, do a general walking tour video of it. Two, you can highlight a specific feature that that home has that's unique to that home. You can highlight the neighborhood that that home is in. You can highlight the restaurants around it, the amenities that they have around it, and why this is the place that you want to live, why it's a great place in general, why it's a place they should consider. You can do longer form videos with that. You can do short form videos with that.
What are the differences between those two?
So a long form video is typically like your typical YouTube video, 2-3+ minutes, right? Short form video is that TikTok format, under 60 seconds, super quick, super engaging, a great distraction, really. I scroll through TikToks a lot, it's so fun. I know. It's research, Devin. It's research, Devin.
Sure is.
Another thing that you can do is hashtags, right? That's the way to get into somebody's algorithm. There's this great app, it's called Boost. You don't want to enter an oversaturated field. Hashtag Hawaii. Hashtag Kailua. There's like 1 billion posts in that, right? Apps like Boost, that will give you posts that are trending, that are underused, and that are more likely to get you in somebody else's discovery page. And I'll let you in on a secret too. Don't be so hard on yourself, right? Video content is tough. It takes a lot of dedication, but here's the secret, all right? You can recycle your video content. You can recycle your video content if you're innovative enough about it, right? Like foodies like us, we're good foodies. We did a video on like top 3 restaurants, right? Top 3 restaurants in Oahu. All right, from that you have 3+ more videos. Hidden gem in Kaimuki. You have best all you can eat. Best place with a view. You can even go further and do shorter form videos like asking a server to deliver me their favorite thing. And people love that kind of stuff. So you can definitely recycle your video content as long as it's something, piggybacking also off of what they said, something that you're super passionate about. Because, you know, value plus consistency equals growth. And value definitely does come from data and logistics, but it also comes from, as corny as it sounds, it comes from your heart, right? If you follow your heart and you do something you're passionate about it, that's gonna read. That engagement, that passion that you have, that excitement you have about what you're talking about, that's gonna read super well with your audience, and people are going to be more excited to see things that you're making because you're excited to make it. So yeah, and also use that content for your weekly emails. Going back to consistency, your weekly emails, we started doing a new format with our weekly emails, and maybe I should let them in on the secret. Should I let you guys in on the
I
secret?
want to know.
Ever since we started doing that, industry average for an email open rate is about 16%. Ours is 25 minimum. Click-through rate's a little less than 1%. Ours is above 2. The format for that is we start with a video, something that gets them excited. Typically, that's a neighborhood video of sorts. It can go back to a local business kind of highlight. After that is a list. It's a graphic where you can link it back to your webpage of events that are happening, adding value to the people that you're serving, events that are happening in your community, right? And then from that, we go on to infographics or just some kind of information on the market. Like today, we sent out, did you guys know that in the past 12 months, the average equity gained from a homeowner is $139,000 in Hawaii? The national average is $64,000. That is a crazy fact. That's insanity. Include that in there, and then you know what you put underneath that? Here's a link to get your home value. Send me an email, pre-written email, or a home bot if you have it, a text, whatever. That's a great way to incite engagement. And then after that, we make them dig a little bit for it, but after that, they get to the listings. People love seeing the listings that we have, so you put those there, and then down at the bottom of that, you top it off with another video. So that can be another community video if you want. It can also be a market update. That's typically what we do. So yeah, I just totally went on a whole
Oh, that's
tangent,
amazing.
right?
Great. All right, guys, we're gonna, for the last 20 minutes, we're just gonna open up to Q&A. If anybody has any questions on anything at all that these amazing women have gone over.
So you're talking about video content. What sort of would be in a video? How like would it be under a minute and it just shows the house, right? Like maybe panning shots of the house.
Yeah, I mean, so you're asking what kind of short form videos you can make for a listing that you have? Yeah, okay. So you can, if you don't always need like a nice like photographer, videographer. We're lucky enough to have Nico over there. He's super great. He gets
Everybody give it up for Nico. So just so you guys know, we're gonna take this hour of clips and probably turn it into 5 or 6 videos. I'm sure.
Recycle content, baby. But okay, so you can do drone footage of the neighborhood. You can do your home tour. If they have your place had like a nice like infinity pool, right? We put a mermaid in the infinity pool. My friend dresses up as a mermaid sometimes. We put her in the infinity pool and we made it a TikTok.
It was great.
It was beautiful. You can do, here's what's around the corner in Makiki Heights, and it's like, here's a nice little coffee shop. Here's what a nice little restaurant, whatever. Here's a park. People like parks, right? You guys still like parks, right? I know we're in a digital age. There's endless opportunities, really, of things that you can do. But it kind of bounces back to what I said before. Do what you're passionate about. If you're passionate about food like I am, show me all the restaurants in the neighborhood. That's what I want to know, right? I want to know what the best places are to eat. But serve your community the way that you would want to be, the way that you would be passionate about.
Awesome.
Thank you. That's so good. Thank you, Lexi. Questions? We're gonna wrap up if we don't have questions.
I guess what skip tracing tool are you guys using to get all those numbers for the houses?
Sure, I can answer that. You've got a couple different options. So he asked what skip tracing, he's basically asking where do you get the phone numbers for these people? So I'll give you the list of a bunch of different ones. First of all, if you call your rep at First American Title, Sonia, Sonia, will you stand up by the way? Everybody say hi to Sonia.
Oh my God, I haven't seen her forever.
So Sonia, if you're nice to her, she'll give you her phone number, and then you can call her with anything you need, whether it's partnering on events or like we call her all the time. Just the other day, I was like, hey Sonia, I need a list of people that have bought in the last 4 years with a VA loan with this much equity in this area that have single family homes. It was like really specific. And she's like, okay, no worries, Devin, I'll get right over to you. And you can pay them to buy numbers there. Other number providing services, there's a company called Mojo Sells, Mojo Dialer, that's something you guys might use. Vulcan 7 is another one, it's a little bit more expensive, that's what we use. You can use, we use a website called True People Search. If you just want to search one person's name and number, it's really fantastic. It's not good for scale at mass because it takes a couple minutes per person. But you can either do it the cheap way, which is look up one at a time, or you can pay for one of those data providers. Yeah, just be mindful of the do not call registry. We always respect that. You just don't want to get fined for that. I know people that have been fined for it. Yeah, good question. Yeah, really good question.
If nobody has any questions, can I throw something on?
Please.
Okay. This is, oh, sorry, video question.
You can just yell it.
Hi, Jen.
I
You look different from my
Bye,
people.
Will.
I'm talking.
This is the first time we met and we've been talking all the time. Nice to see you in person.
What you got, Joey?
So already in my first year as a real estate agent, we always like to talk about, we want to do one thing and the next one, and my agent friend talked about shiny object syndrome.
Yeah.
On one thing.
You wanna talk about that? Yeah, you can talk about
So-
that.
Say I have that.
No, but
I'll answer
you
my
know
question,
about
but
it.
for everyone that that wants to pursue like a bunch of things, like what's your take about shiny object syndrome, especially the fact that you want to like take on
A million things at once, yeah. I don't know if I'm the right person to give advice on this. Everyone on my team can tell you that I have shiny objects. I'm very usually disciplined on the things that work, but there was a point for 6 months that we had like 6 different websites that we were building out, that we were working on. And I think I brought my team, like everybody, and like at one point, Lexi had just finished building us, so that's what she does as well. a brand new website. The next day, I'm so sorry, Lexi. I came in and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, okay, Lexi, I just saw a TikTok video of this website. We need to change everything and go over there. So I don't know if I'm the best, but here's what I will say is choose 2 or 3 things. What we do is we refer to as lead pillars. Choose 2 or 3 lead pillars and say, this is where my business is going to come from. Everybody in this room, your very first one should be your SOI, your sphere of influence, your past clients, people that already know you. Then you should establish a second one. And that could be anything from open houses, if you're really good at that. That could be cold calling. That could be business networking events. It could be social media. But just establish 2, 3, if you can, if you have time for it, if you're full-time, 4 or 5 sources of business, and then establish your marketing plan and your prospecting plan around every single one of them. And then, as long as those are constant in your business and you stay on top of them, then add other crap, it doesn't matter. But the most important thing is don't ever pull back from those 4 or 5 items. Yeah, okay, sorry.
No, I think that's great. I think agents tend to have shiny object syndrome because we're always looking like, how can we build our business? How can we get more leads? How can we get more sales, right? But just like Devin said, don't get, understand if it's too good to be true, it is. Don't spend your money, thinking, I'm gonna spend $5,000 here and be able to get all these leads. Do the research, right? Have someone that you can lean on for marketing purposes because especially if you're on a budget, you have to be conscientious of that, right? Of how much money you're investing and where you're investing it in. I came from a different generation. You guys are much younger. I apologize, I don't Facebook, I don't do social media. That's not my area.
Okay.
So that's why you probably won't find me on anything. It's just not who I am. I like more, like I was gonna say, does anybody wanna know about the STR, Ordinance 22.7 update? That's what I love, right? So I'm more about that kind of stuff.
We'll go over that next.
Yeah, we can go over that next time. But that's what I love, right? But what I do like is that you have to have a passion, right? And if you have a passion, which everybody says here, you know who your target audience is. It's just like what Devin said. You need to have 3 different sectors. Your soy, that's your first circle of influence, right? Then it's where you live, where you're familiar with. That's your knowledge base, right? If you live here, you're talking about foodie stuff. What buildings are closest to the most popular restaurants, right? Or restaurants that someone might be interested in. That's how you attach it, right? By the way, this area has some of the best foods and highlight the restaurants, right? Because this is a lifestyle. This whole area is a lifestyle. So that's what you're, promoting. The other is, where do you want your business to be? Is it a particular type of clientele? Is it a property? Is it a neighborhood area? Because those are where you want to focus on.
Okay. Can I add on to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the big thing
I'll have a
too,
question.
I just want to add on to what she was saying. I was in a class at Keller Williams, and I remember asking, I think it was Danny Hara, I was like, oh, you ask your contractors, your vendors, your inspectors for business? And he's like, well, they've got to buy somewhere, right? He's like, they got to use somebody. So John Kiefer is one of our big lenders. He's in the back of the picture. Look, Johnny Loves. On a weekly basis, I ask him for something, whether it's more marketing money for a co-branding deal, whether it's for him to come in and do cold calls with us or go door knocking, or if it's just for his clients, because I know he has a brother who is a doctor, and I want those doctor clients. And he's still holding out on me on that one, but don't be afraid to, you said this earlier, don't be afraid to ask for the business. It's almost embarrassing if you don't. My very first open house, I was sitting in Manoa. It was Diane Ito's listing, if you guys know who she is, this sweet little lady who's also like so fierce. And I was at this open house listing. It was $450,000 for a single family home 10 years ago. And this family comes in and they're like, yeah, we really need to sell our condo. We want to buy a house. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a great plan. And they're like, yeah, we need an agent. I was like, oh, wish I could help you. I didn't even say that. I was like, oh, okay, great. And then there was this, and then they go, I was like, And they're like, okay, bye. They were waiting for me to ask for the business, and I didn't. And to this day, I still think about. Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
No, I think that's a great
Yeah.
example. No, I think that's a great example. Oftentimes we feel, and I don't know if it's just a Hawaiian thing, right? Where you feel almost a little embarrassed to ask for business. But I always say, keep it casual. If you're meeting with someone, right? Hey, Lexi, how you doing? Been a long time, right? And then you're chit-chatting, right? Go, hey, girl, I haven't got any business from you. How come? You gotta pass them my way. You know, if you're familiar with them, be casual about it. Don't be like, Lexi, do you have any referrals to give me? Because, you know, if you make it too serious, right? They're like,
Weird.
it's weird, right? Don't make it awkward. Don't feel like people have to be pressured to give you the referral. But do ask for it. Just say, hey, you know, if you know anybody who needs any help, I'm free. I've got time. You know, let them know that you're available, because otherwise people are going to think you're too busy. If you don't ask business, right? It's like when you work in retail. I worked in retail before I went into real estate. And it was a great transition for me because I was constantly asking people, would you like to buy that? Can I take that to the register for you? It's no different. Would you like to buy this house? Would you like me to put an offer in for you? Let's sit down and meet. So, you know, Elle, I think, you know, we've been in the business a long time, and for those that have been in the business a long time, everything was paper. We carried copies of our purchase contract everywhere we went, just in case we met a buyer. Oh, here, right? Here it is.
I know that.
Yeah, we didn't have DigiSign, DocuSign. And by the way, I want to put this out there, not to say anything about myself, but this is just where I want to say, it really is about mindset. You know, it's like the law of attraction. What you give out is what you receive, right? So if you tell yourself, I do not have business, I don't have enough business, because you don't and you won't. You have to tell yourself, I have business. Clients love me. I get calls all the time. You have to say it like you mean it, and you have to say it like it's happening now. That's how you get that law of attraction. Even when you project, don't apologize for what you want. Don't apologize for your worth. Don't apologize for how you want people to value you, right? Because you're putting it out there. You don't want to attract someone who's not going to respect or value you as a professional, let alone a person, right? So don't put that out there either. But the same thing, ask for the business. Don't be afraid. If someone doesn't give you the business, that's okay. But what if they did? What if they gave you the business because you asked them? How amazing is that, right?
Can I tell you my favorite line?
Yeah.
So just tell me, like, say we met somewhere and you're like, I'm thinking about selling my house.
I'm thinking about selling my house.
Do you know what I'm gonna say?
I know exactly what you're going to say.
So my number one closer that has made me a lot of money, I'll tell you, it's the secret, is this. I see you recording, it's a great idea. So tell me again.
I'm thinking about selling my house.
Oh, that's exciting. I'd like to apply for the job, is that okay?
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah, I love
Open
that.
houses? Oh, we're looking to buy. Oh, I'd like to apply for the job, is that okay?
I
Who
love that.
says no to that? Just, you can't. And it's like, now if they have an agent, you might be like, oh, well, we have a really good agent. It's like, oh, okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, just if they have assistance, that's okay. Say,
Yeah.
good, I'm glad. I wish you the best. Give them, leave them feeling good. Because because what if something doesn't work out with their agent? Guess who they're gonna remember? The last person who said something good to them. And it wasn't about being competitive. It was like, good for you, I wish you the best of luck. Oh, you're working with that agent? Oh, they're a great agent. You're in great hands. Don't disparage, right? One of the top things that some people do in listings, by the way, is if they think that they may be in a competitive situation, what they'll do is volunteer. Say, if you don't want to go with me, that's okay. But allow me to give you some recommendations because I want to make sure you're going to be in good hands. That will resonate. You care more about me than your own business. Yes, because I come from a place of servicing. Even if you're not going to get the service from me, I want you to have good service and be in hands that are going to take care of you. That's a game changer for a lot of people too.
I've done this successfully so many times, and it doesn't work out the way you offer, but it works out in your favor. Is if I'm going out, I'll ask, if I'm into the big listing, I'll be like, oh, who else are you interviewing? And if they tell me a name or two, I'll be like, you know what, they're so amazing, and I know we have amazing services too. And if the home needs a certain thing, whether it's staging or photos or video, I'll say, you know what, I've worked with them once or twice before, or if I haven't had the chance to work with them before, why don't we just co-list it? I'll co-list it with them. Let them know I'll co-list it with them. And that agent, when that client offers it to them, what do they say? No. And now who looks really good? Who's willing to play ball and sell their home? You are. And if I get a co-listing, great. And if I get a listing, even better. But no matter what, you're winning on both fronts.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm sorry, Elle, you had a question.
Oh, yeah, I have one question for Devin.
Oh no.
There you go, Devin.
Devin Tryan.
What time do you start the process?
What time do I start my prospecting and finish? It's different now. Now that I have a team, we have staff and management meetings and script trainings. And my agents don't all like to start super early script calls like I do. It's okay. But we do our script calls at 8:15, which was a compromise. It was a compromise. I think if it was up to me, it would be at 7 a.m., but it's okay. Yeah, so now my schedule before used to be, what I would do is I get to the office around 6:30, I would have a script practice from 6:30 to 7, and then from 7 o'clock to about 11:30, I would do my lead generation hours. I would just take a working lunch where I just answered emails and stuff, and then I'd usually, if I didn't have appointments, I'd just be reaching out to more people. And it wasn't always, when Elle says prospecting, it wasn't always just cold calls. It was reaching out to my sphere, it was catching up with friends, people that have done relationships or transactions, not relationships, people that have done transactions, but I mean, them too, they have to buy at some point, so like, we're not crossing them off any lists. But yeah, so nowadays it's a little bit different because I'm a little bit more in that hybrid model role, but I still usually get in anywhere from 5 to 10 conversations every day, and I really have changed my methods to be less quantity of conversations, and this is something I took from Brittany. And I really try and have 5 or 10 high quality conversations every single day, which I hit almost every day now. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. So, but I still average maybe 30 to 50 conversations a week on a slow week.
Jen, how do you support the team like that? So how do you support agents?
I mean,
Oh, yeah, if you want to answer that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot, and it goes many ways. We really love EXP because of our ability to brand ourselves and really grow. It's a lot more scalable than other models. It also has given us the ability with the support structure that Jen has in place. I think our contract turnaround time, when I joined, it was a day. Now it's under 60 minutes. I mean, sometimes I get contracts done in 5-10 minutes. It's fast, and everything. Jen has done an incredible job of creating a streamlined process within our brokerage. And so not only can we just send out contracts and get everything we need the day of, if we ever have problems, which, I mean, if you're doing enough transactions, you're gonna get some people that complain, whether it's other agents or clients or your other agents' clients. And on a monthly basis, I'm reaching out to Jen about something or asking a question. And it's really nice because it's never just do this, do that. It's very much the kind of Socratic method where you say, that's interesting, Devin. Well, what do you think? What about this? Maybe we should go this route. And she'll really walk us through it as a real problem. And I think that's one thing, that's the biggest compliment I hear about you from everybody is you're very good at problem solving. And not just, because we have to understand it is a people business. And we're not solving real estate transaction problems. We're typically solving interpersonal issues with people. Most of the transactions are fine if it's a leaky roof or whatever, but it's because someone's actually upset. And that's where the problems come from. So the support structure has been really allowed us to grow to the point where we didn't ever have to be concerned about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
No, thank you. I wasn't really sure to answer that question because I always look at it as every agent in the brokerage is the client of the brokerage. So we as brokers, you're our clients, no different. The way I speak with most agents is actually the same way I speak with my clients. You know, it's no different, right? I'm not trying to put on a front of who I am. I am who I am. I always tell people, even with clients, I say, you may not like what I have to say, but you need to hear it because it's the truth. So if you don't like what I have to say, that's okay, but understand I'm saying it for a reason. And I have to say, you know, even in listing presentations, I'm not the kind of person that says, oh, yeah, we could try it at that price. That's just not my style. Some people say that. I always have it with a caveat, right? Yes, we could try that for 2 weeks, and then we're changing it. But my clients know when you get to know who you are, you connect with them on a human level, right? And so I talk to my clients the same way. It's with agents, and we're all people. We're all people. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Like Devin said, we all learn from each other. I learn from my agents. Then I get to share that knowledge with other agents. We give and grow together. So I think from a broker level, what's important to me is that every agent knows that even though you can't see us necessarily face to face, you can call us, you can email us, you can text us, you can DM us, you can walk into our virtual office space and we're sitting there just like a brick and mortar. Peter comes to see me, right? We're here for you, and we're gonna have the same conversations. We're not gonna say, what you did was wrong. Why didn't you do that? Or you should have known that. That's not who we are. We're like, okay, tell me the problem, let's walk it. What's the situation? Let's discuss it and come up with some solutions and options. I even reach out to others to say, give me an opinion. Tell me what you think about the situation. I'd like to see, you know, because even if someone doesn't agree with me, that's okay. I use that as strategy. Oh, now I know what you're thinking, right? Now I know how you're gonna address it. Anything that I get, it's always in mind. That's just how my brain works, right? I'm always looking like, okay, options, being creative, you know, coming up with solutions. But for me as a PB, it's how can we make sure that we're providing the service the agents want? Agents, I always say, let me know what we can improve on. Let us improve on that. How can we support you? Help us to make this a better brokerage. And I think that's what's important. If you have a broker who says, I don't have time for this, go talk to somebody else. I'm sorry, but I need a broker now, right? So that's what we're here for. We're here to support you. If you have a broker who's gonna say, I'm here to support you, that's my goal, is to help you be a better professional, to help you to grow your business. That's what we're here for. It's give and take. It's being able to take critiques and go, okay, I accept that. Good and bad, feedback, right? Improvement, get everybody to work together as a team. We're almost 700 agents here now. We're almost 700 and we're growing. But that's because everybody at EXP helps to grow EXP. It's not me. I'm here to support the growth of the agents. That's why I said, you know, I prefer to be in the background, I really do. Your success is my success. That's how I see it. I don't care about numbers. I don't care about those things. If you're a good person, you do the right thing, that's what matters to me. And I just wanna say this, you know, going back to being mindset oriented, your enemy is yourself, right? The danger report that came out in 2015 for NAR said for agents, our own industry is a danger to ourselves. Agents who come in that are not professional, they harm professional agents, right? But you yourself could be your worst enemy if you don't believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, but be smart about it. Have a business plan, you know, have a target audience, have a dream board. You need to have goals. I started this industry, I had a bicycle. I didn't have a vehicle, I had a bicycle and I used to pedal from work. And my story was, I lived in Makiki, so that was my area, right? I didn't really have a soy, I didn't have family or friends in Hawaii because I lived in a bubble called Hickam Air Force Base. And military people don't go outside their world unless they live off base. So I had to kind of learn after getting out of college all about what being on the island is for after living here for over a decade. You know, I had to learn. But that was my area, and I created myself as the Makiki specialist. I knew every building, I knew every unit. I could stand in alumni and tell you everything that sold by looking at the buildings. But nobody ever knew I had a bicycle because I did it on purpose. I said, we're gonna set up showings, it's gonna be here, McKee's such a bear with parking. This one's vacant, just keep your car here and we'll go check out the other units. And then my inside joke was whenever there was a bicycle rack, and a lot of McKee buildings have bicycle racks, I go, and they have a bicycle rack, right? How great is that? How convenient is that? as I wipe the sweat off. But yeah, I sold real estate for 6 months on a bicycle. Nobody knew about it. But every time I made an achievement, my clients, I brought them in. My clients were so happy, right? So happy for the achievement. Know that your clients are happy for your success as well. And don't be ashamed to say, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for allowing me to create this for myself. Thank you for the opportunity. And I've had clients who are like, finally, a new car, Jen. That other one was a real one. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. You know, I have a whole bunch of other stories about that. But they are happy with your success. So clients want you to bring them in and say, thank you for allowing me to be part of this. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your experience. And thank you for allowing me to grow, and thank you for the new car too. and they do. They actually kind of chuckle and laugh and they go, well, you did your job. Good for you. And they're happy. They go, you know what? I want you to get something else. I'm going to give you more clients. And really, that's how you get more clients. Build on your past clients. And when is the best time to ask for referrals?
When they're happy.
Every day.
When they're happy, and especially if they're happy at closing.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Everybody give it up for Jen. All right, guys, it is shortly after 7, so we are going to wrap up. Thank you, ladies, so much. That was incredible. I appreciate every one of you guys taking the time to be up here. So I just want to end on one thing, which is, what is everybody's goals for 2023? Did I tell you I was going to ask you that?
No, you're good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Surprise.
Good thing we have it in our marketing.
First question to everybody else, raise your hand if you have a vision board or actually write down your goals and you look at them every day. I should see every person raising their hand in here. It's
Nice.
so important. How are you gonna hit a goal if you can't see it, you're not looking at it, right? So I have a vision board. It's gold and sparkly. And I have all the different things on there that I want to achieve, things that inspire me. So my big goal for next year, so I'm at 18, I think I'm gonna end the year around 20. Could be, there's some stuff in process right now that we might be closing too, which is big, so we'll see, fingers crossed. But hopefully around 20, if not higher. So that means next year I would love to do probably 35 is my goal, 35 million. So yeah, so we'll see, I'm excited about it. It's, you know, you have to give goals that kind of scare you, right? If it's too small or too digestible and you've already hit it before, you're like, you've already proven to yourself that you can do it. Why can't you do it again, right?
I would love to see EXP hit 1,000 agents by the end of 2023. That's the goal. And again, because again, we are a team. The bigger and stronger we are as a team, the better we are, right? And we grow faster and we network more, we leverage, and I love to see how EXP has worked together. So thank you, Devin, for bringing everybody in this room. Yeah.
We have so many goals. We actually just did our annual marketing plan, and like literally the first part of that is like, what's our goals? What's your KPIs? What's your scripts? All that stuff. So we have like,
Share whatever you want.
Okay.
You're excited about.
well, we have a really fun web project coming up. I don't want to spoil anything, but you guys
Sorry.
be on the lookout.
Okay.
Another goal personally of mine is I want to double, if not triple, everything. The amount of transactions that we have, the beautiful people on our team. Double if not triple it. Why not? Sky's the limit. No, moon's the limit.
Nice.
If not the universe.
Awesome. All right, everybody, thank you all so much. You should have packets on the back is going to be our schedule. I think it's the second to last page on there. Can I see somebody so I can show them what it looks like? Oh, thank you. So this is for our team as well as just all agents. We decided to open it up. If you see on here tips from top producers, It should have a schedule. It does have a schedule,
Yeah.
as well as the topics that we're training on and going over, everything from bulletproofing your business to how to land luxury clients, how to turn your database into a data bank, and how to get 2 clients from every single open house. So this is the schedule on here, guys. It's held here. If anybody has any questions on anything, feel free to reach out to us. My name is Devin Tryan. You can find us on Instagram. I probably messaged all of you personally at one point. So thank you all for coming, and I appreciate it. Aloha.
Thanks, guys.